And my apologies, my apologies. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another edition here of HomeStory Cup number 28, Revelation Retake. I'm of course your host VIP, and with me I'm joined by these amazing players and by the people in the chat as well. Welcome, one all. Who do apologize for some audio difficulties, but it should be smooth sailings from here on forward. And of course, welcome one all. To a bit of a catch-up stream, to a catch-up broadcast. Again, HomeStory Cup did take place 2 weekends ago, and we have been the B streamer. We've been live casting HomeStory Cup for the past, what, 4-ish years, maybe 5 years at this point. It's been a while, but we have been covering HomeStory Cup on a regular basis. Unfortunately, this most recent HomeStory Cup, we were unavailable, right? We were unavailable, we were not able to cover, not able to cast, and as a result, we're here to catch up. We're here to catch up on those matches on that weekend of StarCraft. Oh boy. Bearing in mind we just wrapped up with Rongi Cup, so we caught up with Rongi Cup, we caught up with Thunderfire, now we have HomeStory Cup, and we'll have Little League Cup around the corner as well after we wrap up with HomeStory Cup. So we got a lot of catching up to do. We'll get there, baby. We'll get there. It's all good. It is all good. As we get ready for our broadcast, one moment here. Transform. Beautiful. Okay, sorry, just fixing some stuff up. But yes, we are going to be jumping into today's broadcast covering HomeStory Cup 28 Group A. Okay, so today's going to be Group A, tomorrow Group B. We're going to be working through the group stage one after the other, eventually into the playoffs and eventually crowning our HomeStory Cup champion. When it comes to this event, again, the international invites were quite minimal, as it typically is. It's very European focused, European centric, but a couple of Koreans were sent over. Shout out to streamer Zoun, they were able to fly over and send over both SOS and Nightmare. When it comes to Team Vitality, they sent over, I believe, Ryung and Zoun. So we did have some nice Korean representation there. We did have a couple of players, Nightmare, SOS, Zoun, and Ryung. And of course, we have our typical regulars when it comes to the European region and the European scene as well. When it comes to Group A, we do have our matches ready for us here. Let us quickly switch our scenes over and catch up on the brackets and on our matches. Now when it comes to the group stage, this is merely only a portion. I want to say like around half of the matches are here, but again, it is a round robin group stage. Everyone plays against everyone. There's a lot of games, a lot of matches, and we did decide to kind of sift through them a little bit here and pick the top 6 that we did want to showcase and broadcast. Here we go. We're going to be starting things off with Lambo versus Zoun, then we're going to be kicking things off with a Kelazar versus Uwu Thermal. We have quite a lot of Uwu Thermal games here. I'm assuming he played Terran. I'll double check, of course, to see if he didn't switch into random instead. We have Kelazar versus Thermal, Nightmare versus Thermal, Lambo versus Thermal, Nightmare versus Lambo, and Zoun versus Uwu Thermal. So we do have tonight's matches ready for us here. There are some others, of course, again, round robin. I was tempted to get into like some PvPs between Zoun and Nightmare, for example, but for now we're going to calm down. Again, there's just a lot of games to catch up on, and we want to eventually work through HomeStory Cup, so did have to pick and choose there when it comes to the matches. Meanwhile, when it comes to live coverage, I believe Steadfast was the B stream this time, and I think maybe there was some other English coverage as well, maybe Dave, maybe Chicken Man, but regardless, we do have our first matchup. Gonna be jumping into our ZVP here. It's gonna be on game 1, it's gonna be loading into Winter Madness in our best of 3. Now in years past, and personally I do prefer the best of 2 format for the group stage. We have had best of 2s in HomeStory Cup group stage in the past, a couple of times actually, but I believe this time it is best of 3. This time we're delving into best of 3s instead. Let's go. Team Uwu. Oh no, baby, oh no. But here we go. Spawning in the bottom hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the German Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Team Vitality. It is Zoun. Here we go, and what a matchup to start the night off with, by the way, just because I would say that Zoun and Lambo are the top 2 seeded players of this group, Zoun being the first and Lambo being the second. I mean, I say that there are other players that can threaten, of course, like Nightmare, like Thermal as well, but yeah, these are the 2 that typically I would expect to make it far and to make it out of the groups, but early on, facing off here in the first round. Let's go. Let us go. again, when and where they play against each other also does impact things, especially because HomeStory Cup group stage days are very long. They're very, very long. So towards the end of the group, fatigue can and does set in. But here, we're kind of fresh. We're fresh. First series of the broadcast of the day. So now we're dipping in. Hatchcast pool, standard open out of Lambo. Zoun likewise opening up with a gate expand. So far so good. I'm curious to see how Zoun has adjusted as of late. I did mention this previously, but Zoun, he has been very inactive in recent times. So Zoun, there's not really too much to work off of. He's not as active as Hero or Classic or yeah, Hero and Classic come to mind, or even Creator. Like they're a little more active. They play in a little more open cups, a little more open tournaments, and a little more invitational and big events as well. Premier online events, I should say. So yeah, Zoun, he's just a very inconsistent player when it comes to participation. So it's harder to kind of judge his current rate of skill and his current form and his current play style. In my mind, he's a very aggressive player, and he's shown us that last year. But again, it's been a while since we've covered Zoun on a regular basis. So I'm curious to see how he does approach Lambo as he throws down the pylon behind the mineral line. Okay, so does hide the pylon, does hide the tech. Interesting, and we'll see if he does go for a Stargate into banking up the oracles back at home, or a Twilight Council. Eyes on Zoun. Bearing in mind, Zoun did go all the way to... Oh, my Forge first? Okay. Let's go. I was gonna say, bearing in mind that Zoun, he did force Rainer. No, he actually beat Rainer. He beat Rainer in RSL. That was what, like a season ago. Like, we have seen Zoun pop up against Rainer, and that was in relatively recent times, and that was with a lot of aggression. That was with a lot of glaive depths, a lot of early timing attacks, and we're seeing that here. Early Forge means early +1, and this looks like this can be one of two things: either like an Immortal based all-in or a vanilla Gateway based all-in. Regardless, hyper aggression, early +1, early timing. So I'm curious whether or not he gets the Twilight Council. As well, we have the answer to that. Twilight Council is going to be on the way. Now from here we can go Twilight Council into Temple Archives, into Archon production with Slow Lord support. Or we can go into Blink or Charge. Show us what you got. Meanwhile, Lambo's droning, saturating, getting his third base. Lambo's on the wiser. The Overlord Scout has been denied. Shout out to the Stalker that is on patrol. And Lambo currently has no idea what's going on. And there's a lot of scouts. Now, something that Lambo should confirm soon with his Zergling is the lack of third base. Lack of third base is already a tell that something is wrong, something is amiss, something is not quite right here. We can see it's going to be a charge all in on 2 bases. And Lambo, he needs to piece this all together. He does break in. Third base is being taken. But again, Lambo, yep, does play it safe. We do have a safety Roach Warren, so thankfully Lambo, he's aware that the third base has been delayed and that something is not quite right. He's also aware that there's no oracles, right? There's no oracles zooming across the map. There's no harassment back at home, so very low chance it was Stargate, a higher chance it was a Twilight Council instead. So Lambo currently is playing it safe. Could be DTs, could be glaives, could be a blink-based all-in. Meanwhile, Zoun should be banking up his zealots here in his bases, and we have the answer now. I assumed, if you remember, it was going to be a Twilight Council into Temple Archives, into an upgrade less timing, but no, the answer is we're still getting to Charge and Archons as well. If Lambo skips Roach production, then he might just topple over. Gateways are amassing. It's a lot of gates. And here comes the first sign of the move out to the Warp Prism. Warp Prism's on the way. Now, I was curious about this. If you saw, +1 wasn't really lined up with the rest of the upgrades or the timing. So we finish +1 and we go straight into +2 instead. Okay, so there's going to be a later timing available here for Zoun. Despite that, the Prism does indicate that Zoun is going to be pushing. Assuming this isn't just going to be Archon Harass. As he's initially moving out. Lambo's on patrol. And we'll scout the Prism, he knows. Roach production has begun. Making 3 roaches currently. We go 7 more on the way. And it looks like the roaches will pop out just in time. It's close. It's quite close, but they should pop out. Lambo getting up to 3 base saturation, delaying his 4th base, playing it safe. Safety Baneliness as well. And Lambo's fine. You can see here that we only worked in 3 Zealots. Archons, they can tank. They can threaten. At the same time, Zoun going for a Zealot run by at the natural. Gets 1, gets 2 queens. Oh, no transfuse. Yeah, late reaction out of Lambo. Losing 2 queens. At the same time, Zealots, they do bust into the mineral line, and they do focus down a couple of drones. 3 in total so far. Getting to 3 drone kills. Archons are over to the main. Another Prism. Prism goes down. A nice pickup. Does come at a cost. Lambo losing 3 queens. 3 queens go down. There's the recall. We'll save one of the Archons. Both, actually. Zoun gets out. Now, of course, what is scary here is +2. Right? +2 is just about to finish. So Zoun has that timing. Warping in now Immortals. Ooh, when he's expecting a massive counterattack here, we have cannons on the way. Shield batteries on the way as well. I mean, he guesses correctly here. Lambo never got a 4th. His 4th is very late. Late 4th base. Lambo just moving out with a mass amount of roaches. And we'll see if Zoun can survive this. Without Blink Stalkers, it's going to be a tough hold. He's going to be much more reliant here on his Immortals, side defense, and his Archons. It's not going to be an easy defense. So far, there's 2. Okay, there we go. 2 Immortals. And he moves down from his natural. Remember, the longer this game goes on, the better it's going to be for Zoun. Lambo sees the side defense. Waiting for Banelings, I would imagine. This Baneling speed is on the way. There we go, morphing in 10 Banelings. Now, if Zoun had prioritized Storm, I do feel like this would have been an easier hold, but he chose not to research Storm. Again, he's getting to Blink, getting to +1. I said around by does distract. Lambo, he does turn everything back around. Uh-oh. Lambo is being distracted, is being delayed. There are a couple of force fields. Jesus, that's a lot of Banelings. And again, this is where Storm would have been amazing. Zoun does see everything. Archons moving forward. Nice shuffling here by Zoun. Zealots hit the right hand side. And Lemon moves in. He even shows his force fields. Oh! He turns away the army, not bad. Banelings, they trickle in. So far, very nice control there by Zoun. Oh, wait, he did lose an Archon. Yeah, did lose an Archon. Kites back, deals with all the Banelings. Now the Immortals are remaining. And it's only Roaches. Only Roaches. Lambo gets completely shut down. Very clean defense here by Zoun. Jesus. Again, the force fields were on point. The arc composition was on point as well. He had some nice splits, some nice... Oh, he had some nice kiting. And this is getting scary. The Immortal count is slowly building up. Zoun now has Blink. Remember, Lambo, he is not droned in a couple of minutes at this point. This 4th base that was thrown down earlier, I mean, he's just transferring over as he's running out of patches. Staying on a very low drone count of 65. This is enough to allow for the all-in to continue, but he cannot allow Zoun to get a 4th base. This 4th base is on the way, and it should be denied. Storm has begun. That's potentially the nail in the coffin. Lambo, he's got to end it soon. Thankfully for Lambo, we're lacking some Archons here. Just now morphing in a 3rd Archon. Like, Archon's going to be paramount against all these Banelings. Yeah, Lambo committing in. Zoun a little bit out of position. Shows his force fields. Oh, the Banelings get in. Yeah, they get into the mineral line. Alas, Zoun goes out of position. Banelings are headed for the High Templar. And Lambo, he may have just done it. Yeah, he may have just done it here. Zoun, he had the army to defend. He had the tools, but again, completely out of position. No force fields. Lack of engage. Oh my god. The Archons, though, they tank quite well. The Immortals will survive. No shot. They all live. And Zoun, he overwhelms. He overwhelms. He shuts down the main army. At the same time, the fourth base is barely going to go down. Zoun heals across the map. 12 drone kills. Lambo barely had an economy to begin with. So 12 more workers go down, and Zoun, he barely holds on. And once again, what's most impressive about this defense, he retains all the Immortals. Not a single Immortal went down. And Zoun, he actually retained his economy. When the Banelings got into the mineral line, I assumed that the workers would die, or at least the base would go down. The base survived, the workers survived as well. Yeah, that fight was not good enough for Lambo. And things are now looking bleak. They're looking very, very bleak here for Lambo. His Ravage count was reset. The one good thing for Lambo here is that he killed the fourth base, right? At least he killed the fourth expansion. So he's stopping Zoun from getting out of hand when it comes to his economy, at least, and his production. Lambo just now joining up. So again, at least he killed the fourth. Lambo picks in. That's forced to cancel. Yeah, and now Zoun, he's just breaking out. He's breaking out at this point. Up until this point, Zoun has been stuck defending outside of his Zealot run by his Zealot harass. Now he can break out across the map. This time he's got Storms, he's got 3 High Templar. I'm a little bit concerned about the lack of War Prism. Lack of Prism with the army. Lack of control. Lambo going for the counterattack, looking to strike that fourth base, or a cannon's in position. Cannons are buying time for warpins. Zoun keeps pushing. And again, Lambo does not have enough. Losing another expansion. Fourth base goes down. Massive storms on the army. Lambo has to tank the storms. Forcing his way in, but the Immortals just go to town on this army. GG gets called, and Zoun, he takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Zoun takes the lead in the series. Again, it was just looking very, very rough there after the first failed all-in. But Lambo, he initially, I mean, the all-in makes sense when it comes to dealing with the initial Archon push and the Archon harass. He committed, he stayed on a very low drone count of 67, maxed out on Lingbane Roach Ravager, and that first assault, that first attack was brutal. Like, as if you recall, like we did compliment Zoun. Zoun had an incredible defense there, splitting, spreading, throwing in the force fields, tanking with the Archons. Like, that was a crazy fight, and Zoun did dominate. Lambo built up into a second wave, into a second push, which was a lot more successful. I was a little bit concerned because if you recall, Zoun was out of position. He was out of position. He was at the ramp outside of his natural instead of the entrance to his third base, so the Banelings got in, and a lot more damage was dealt than should have. But all the Immortals survived. Like Lambo, he failed to kill any of the Immortals, and in the end, it overextend. In the end, it failed to break Zoun. GG. GG, well played. Whew. With that, Zoun takes the lead in the series. Now we're going to be loading into game 2. Going to be loading into 10,000 feet. Let's go. Quack, baby, quack. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the German Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Shanghai Rebellion. It is Lambo. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss for Team Vitality. It is Zoun. Here we go. Here we go, as we are going to be settling in. Whew. And again, welcome to 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet is a much smaller map. The map pool, smaller map, shorter rush distance by ground. The chances, the likelihood of Lambo going for another all-in is quite high, to be honest. It's going to be quite high. So we're expecting aggression out of Lambo. Did fail in the first game, but here coming to game 2, I mean, he might even do something a little bit different. German taxis can be quite, or have been quite common here on 10,000 feet. That is going to be an option that's going to be available. I mean, they are in Germany, true. They're in Krefeld. There's a chance. Was Lambo forced to take the unnatural natural? Expanding towards Zoun. Now, this could be a bit of a tell here. It is a lot more common for Zerg players to take the linear third base. Taking the forward third, it does mean that Lambo can spread creep across the map even faster. So that might be a tell. Oh, as Zoun does let the pylon finish. Interesting. That is a much bigger investment here for Zoun. We'll see if he can make this worth it. To make this worth it, I would imagine he would have to open up double adept to get across. Yeah, he did open 2-gate. Okay, yeah, makes sense. So 2-gate opener out of Zoun, a much more aggressive start, a delayed natural. Basically, Zoun, he's going to be delaying and sacrificing his own natural in favor of a faster second gateway, in favor of double adept harass. They're being cornered as we speak, and the goal here is to get across the map to delay the expansion, but the pylon is going to be dealt with. Yeah, the pylon is cleaned up. Lambo can soon expand. So not entirely certain it was worth finishing that pylon. But Zoun is coming. Toss shade across. And the pressure's on Zoun. Like Zoun, he needs to find some damage here, otherwise he'll just fall behind. His natural is so delayed. Because he lost the pylon, he had to make another pylon, so that delays his other adept. Delays his fourth adept. And so far, this has not been worth it for Zoun. At least he is forcing out links from Lambo. Force out a lot of Zerglings. Zoun races back, getting a safety shield battery. You have the Stargate on the way. And I was about to say that I do favor Lambo in this position, but he did invest into a lot of links, right? A lot of these could have been drones, so he did overinvest. So for now we're settling in. Lambo able to take his third. His third is on the way, gets scouted here by the hallucination. Likewise, Zoun is checking for early tech, checking for an early lair. Early roach warren, confirms no gas mining. Be feeling safe. Oh my god. That I wasn't expecting. So Zoun, he's going for a delayed third, and he's going into a very fast fleet beacon, rushing into Tempest. I'm assuming Tempest rush here. I mean, Tempest rushes, they do hit quite different here on 10,000 feet. If you remember, we did see Hero do this very build against Raynor not too long ago in the Thunderfire finals. Specifically, this position here across the ravine can be abused by siege units, whether it's tanks, whether it's broodlords, whether it's Tempest. So this space is very exposed. And here come the Tempest. They're coming. We're researching tectonic destabilizers. Will add bonus damage to buildings. It's massive. And currently Zoun is still playing blind. He has some spotted links at least. He's checking for expansions, checking for move outs, checking for War Prism harass or anything like that, anything of that nature. But hasn't gotten into the bases. Not yet. Larry's finishing up. With that, we should be seeing an overseer scout. Until then, Lambo's playing it safe. Once again, building a bit of roaches. Oh, and is going for the Spire. Okay. Bold move. Bold move going into a Spire here. I mean, it's going to work very well. I did mention, well, I was going to say bold move attempting to go into Muta play on a map like 10,000 feet. But it's going to work amazingly here against the Tempest. As Tempest move in, they're now mining. Lambo now stuck on a 2-base economy. Thankfully, his 4th base is almost done. Oh! It's Tempest, I gotta be careful. So by catching a queen. Queen goes down, Spore as well. Spire is almost done. Question becomes, does Zoun kill the base? Does he kill the 3rd? And the answer is yes. Okay, so he does kill the expansion. We can see Lambo double expanding, getting his own 4th base, getting a backup 3rd as well. And we can see that Zoun, he's not committing into mass sky toss, he's going for a ground switch. +1 is on the way, charge is on the way, Templar Archives or Archon production as well. Switching to ground. Can he kill another base? No shot! The Queens are rotating over. 2 more volleys. Another volley is about to go off, Clutch Transfuse. But the hatchery goes down, there's a recall! Yeah, 1 Tempest. 1 Tempest falls for 2 hatcheries, well worth it here for Zoun. Gets the hell out of there. Oof, and again, Lambo, he is only on a 2-base economy. Losing his 3rd and his 4th. Ay, ay, ay. I would have wanted Lambo to have been active with these Corruptors. Remember, he just defended, and the reality is that there's not that much anti-air. But as time goes on, now we have more Archons morphing in, more Stalkers as well. Lambo's now moving up with these Corruptors, but I do feel like there was an opportunity to be more active earlier, to give chase. Oh, something that we have to praise though, nice Contamination. Contamination here on Storm. Go to full scouts. Lambo, he's aware of the ground switch. True. He is aware. He's getting ready. He's building up. Likewise, Zoun should be turtling. Just be turtling back at home, building up his Immortals, Archons, or charge lots. Question becomes, can Lambo break him? It's looking very similar to last game. Lambo's going to commit, and it's going to be on Zoun to survive. Looks like Storm will finish. Yeah, we'll finish in time. They're moving in. Trying to force the army into the open. That's a kill. Yeah, it's a kill, not a cancel. Zoun does slip up. Decent Storm. Some of the ground army at least. Corruptors are looking for another way in, trying to go for the Tempest. They attempt to flank, not able to. Nice movement here by Zoun. Very nice, actually. No, calm down. Corruptors being punished. And Zoun, he defends well. Defends very well here, even punishing once again the Corruptors. Another Storm lands. As he's defending, a Depse harass across the map, and a Zealot run by as well. Oof. Getting 7 drones. 7 drones go down. Shades into the mineral line. Boys are being pulled. More drones are falling. Lambo dropping down to 67 workers. 3 base economy. Ay, ay, ay. And Lambo's being forced all in. He's being forced to commit. He's maxed out. has to find more damage here. He can at least cancel the 4th. Oof. Storms are landing. Yeah, storms are landing. Corruptors 8 attempt to split. Going for the Tempest. He commits. He commits in. He gets 1. Gets 1. Gets 2. 2 Tempests go down. Running out of storms. Oof. Final High Templar does fall. No more storms left. And Lambo, he may have just done it here. He's going to kill every single Tempest. Yeah, all the Tempests go down. Only 1 Immortal. Ah, you only need 1. Never mind. Only need 1 here. As Lambo, he'll lose the entire army. Corruptions did make it out. Now, once again, at least Lambo kills the 4th base, but this was an expensive trade. It was expensive. Can he keep doing it, though? He's going to rebuild, remax, and do that again. Yeah. Lambo, he's joining up a little bit further, thankfully. This time Lambo's ready for the Zealots. Ready for the run-by. Oh, as Lambo, he doesn't have much support. No! The storms land and Lambo's gonna lose all the Ravagers. Yeah, he overextended. Big overextension for Lambo, losing almost everything. That was a brutal fight. He had no buffer, he had no supports. The Ravagers were exposed. Zoun taking some very strong fights. And Zoun, can he finally get a 4th base? Is it happening? Seems to have the soup. Yes, the soup does lie. True, true. Like Lambo, he's been like maxing up like 40, 50, 60 army supply. The soup is lying to you. Zoun has a superior composition. That's why he's been holding and taking better fights. Zealot run by at the same time. Lambo being chased down. Oof. His corpse is getting low. You can see Lambo going for a big gambit here. Is going for into Broodlords. Greater Spires on the way. But Zoun, he breaks out across the map. Oh, we gotta hold on to those storms though. Better storm towards the end. Jesus. As Lambo does take the entire storm to the face. Another hatchery goes down. Lambo is hurting. And Zoun is almost maxed. Oof. He's almost maxed out. Can we get the High Templar? Up! He wants them. Gets 1. And 1 Templar goes down. Does force out 2 storms. Yo, Broodlords have begun. We got 4 Broodlords morphing in. Unfortunately, as Lambo is getting into Broodlords, that is just as Zoun is going back into Tempest. So Zoun does have an answer. Another Zealot run by. Broodlords are scouted. So nice run by here by Zoun. Starts up more Tempest. And the scariest thing about all of this here, as the game is kind of slowing down a little bit, our players have some room to breathe. This is benefiting Zoun more. One of the reasons why the game was as close as it was because Lambo was denying the 4th base. Time and time again. I want to say 3 different times he killed this 4th expansion, but now it's up. Now it's up. Now it's fully saturated. Now we have cannon and shield batteries, and now we even have a 5th base on the way. And so now finally Zoun can max out, and Zoun supply doesn't lie. Like that's the scary thing, Papi. Zoun with a max out supply, with a max out army here is terrifying. And Lambo's being outscaled. Lambo's being outscaled. He's stuck on roaches. He's about to get surrounded. Oh no. As Lambo does get caught out, losing all these roaches on the left hand side. Nice clean up here by Zoun. And Lambo, he does have a secondary army on the right-hand side as well, but again, it's just purely roaches. He's trying to build up his Infestor account, trying to go Broodlord Infestor. But Zoun, he doesn't have the economy for it. Lambo, he needs more time. Lambo needs more time. And Zoun, he denies mining. We spoke about it earlier, but this position is going to be abused. Tempest can knock down the expansion. Zelt's here towards left-hand side as well. Zelt's everywhere. No. Yeah, Lambo's being torn apart. Now, he has built up his Infestor count. He has one fight. He has one good fight in him. With all these Infestors, Neural has finished researching. So his army has potential. Oh, Jesus. Has to make sure he doesn't get caught out. Ooh, and this is scary. Zoun doesn't push. Zoun, he doesn't need to be honest. Like, Zoun, he doesn't have to move out. He's already ahead. So it pulls back, it gets another Stargate, another Robo, +1 air attack, +3 attack as well. Zoun can just chill. As long as he's denies bases. On the right. Ooh, Zoun, he wants that hatchery. Yeah, he wants, I think he's gonna get it as well. Lemon moves in. Zoun is out of position. Zoun responds. Here come the zealots. He wants the next, so he wants the hatchery. He wants it. Lambo gets caught. Yeah, he gets caught out. He might catch these two Eye Templar. He will. Gets one, gets two. Zealots, they kill the hatchery. Nice run by here from Lambo. He does kill two Eye Templar at least. No, the Infestors! No! Oh my god, get out of here! Forces a fungal, gets one! One Infestor goes down. That was worth it for Zoun. That was worth it. Zoun is coming. Now, this is what we could try to neural all these Archons. There we go, neurals 1, 2, 3. Neurals 3 Archons. Nice fungal on the Tempest. Very nice fungal. Tempest go down. And Lambert takes a better fight. For the first time in a long time, Lambert does take a better fight here compared to Zoun. And then we're just gonna use Neural. Like, it's all about the Infestors. Neural the Archons. Fungal the Tempest. Avoid the High Templar. Stardust, speaking of. Feedbacks, they come in. Storm as well. The base goes down. Zealots are getting into all the Infestors, and it looks like there's just not enough Zerg. Yeah, not enough support. The Archons, they start to step in. Tempest go down, but it's all about the ground army at this point. As he wants those Brood Lords. Can he get on top of the Broods? Can he get there? It's close. Yeah, there's 4 Archons left. Blink Stalkers, they do come in. GG gets called, and Zoun here overwhelms. Zoun, he will take the series 2-0, knocking down Lambo. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, Lambo, he just had a really rough start here. Once again, I will say he did a decent job when it came to knocking down the 4th base, but he had a very, very hard time teching up and teching out. And not just that, I say he had a rough start. Remember, he lost his 3rd and his 4th base. Like, the initial Tempest rush out of Zoun was very successful when it comes to knocking down bases, crippling the economy, and slowing down Lambo. Eventually, Lambo, he did eventually max out with his own corruptors, with his roaches, and tried to move out. And he was denying bases, but he could not kill. He could not kill, could not break Zoun, and eventually Zoun, he snowballed out of control. As I mentioned before, like, sure, Lambo, he had multiple times where he was eclipsing Zoun's supply by like 40, 50, 60 supply, but again, it was a much more inefficient composition, a very roach heavy style, and he tried to get into Infestors towards the end, but didn't quite have the bank for it. Didn't quite have it. Had some nice fights though, but GG. GG, well played. With that, Zoun does claim the series, and we're going to be jumping into our next set of players here. Again, this is a round-robin group stage. We have plenty of other players here in said group, and up next, we're going to be jumping into a, I believe, TVT. Yes, TVT between Uthermal, Ubuthermal, and Diego Kellezer. Let's go.